So I wanted to talk today a bit more about limited animation, and to that end, let's look at some old limited animation. So you remember this book by Preston Blair. This is his first book that he wrote from the late 40s, early 50s. Oh, let's get some paper up here. And this book had all the secrets about how to make animation, full animation. He put out a second book in 1980, and this book had even more information. So in addition to everything about full animation, it had stuff about limited animation here on this page. And he explained what limited animation is all about, that it's basically cutouts. So if we have this guy here in this pose and he doesn't move, he can have seven mouth shapes. And the lady over here, the wife, she can have 5 mouth shapes if she doesn't move her head. And he breaks it down to show you that here's how that guy's body would break down with separate arms, separate features on his face. His head would nod up and down, very limited, only a couple of drawings. You could break down the dog like this, separate head, separate ears, separate tail to wag. Break down the boy with a separate head over his body. Break down the mother by just having a separate arm, separate her face from her hair. The friend over here can have separate features of his eyes and mouth. Separate his body from his upper body from his lower body. You can separate the wife's legs so that they're separate from walking and for just standing. You can do different types of design styles that show that it's limited. And these are totally different than if you're doing full animation for Disney feature back in those days. Well, this is a great page to study to find out about limited animation. I wanted to show some of the practical uses of that back in the early days of Hanna-Barbera. And here are some model sheets that I've got. And see, it says Hanna-Barbera Characters, Screen Gems, Inc. That was their first distributor for TV. And this huge lineup of all these characters for TV. So their first show was this one, Rough and Ready. And this is Rough, that's Ready. I guess this guy is the professor or something. And if you look at the model sheets, you'll see that Rough has a bow tie on, and that's to help separate his head from his body and his arms, so that the layout and animators can make separate drawings for the head and the arms. They'll separate the eyes for blinks and all that. And Reddy has this collar around his neck, so you can separate his head easily. You can separate his arms out. This is a typical layout drawing. All this writing means stuff for organizing the production through camera. Scene number. You label the characters. These are probably paint number codes. This is on a pan, so it's going to have the top pegs up here. The action is on this side. This side will be probably blank. It's 12 field center shot. Here's some more drawings of Rough. This is a cleaner sheet of Rough. You can still make very nice action poses with him, but you just have to remember that once he stops, comes to a stop and starts to speak, you can separate his head from his body, so you don't have to retrace his body each time on another cell and paint it every time. You can make very nice dynamic poses with him. Here's a sheet of Ready with some poses on it. 1958. I think this is the other side of the sheet here. So if it's like that, or like this. You can make his ears flow or flap as he runs. The collar is a separate thing. His jowls overlap the collar. There's the size comp between them. There's another one of rough. And the next year, they put out their next cartoon show, Huckleberry Hound. And I think this may be all the model sheets I have for Huck. And again, you see a bow tie around his neck, so you can easily separate his head from his body. And then you can make separations of his eyes, his eyebrows, his ears, whatever you need, his arms and legs. But it's a very simplistic design. You can make very nice action poses with this simplistic design. Anything you need. Now here's a storyboard for Huckleberry Hound. Notice how simple it is. 9 panels to a page on 8.5 by 11 pages. All the information you need is right there. There's the narration. We're panning across. And looks like we're going this way. So BG is labeled to tell the guy use BG. This is a monster a dinosaur in the water here. A T-Rex on top. Looks like we're panning from this side, looking at the dinosaurs, down to this cave. And then we dissolve into the cave. And we're hearing a narrator talk. And then we hear Huckleberry's voice off screen. And then Huck walks out from the cave. And this is a long shot of Huck walking. He stops, looks at camera, and starts to talk. Narrator says something. We cut into a close-up. He laughs. Cut back to the long shot. And he's got more dialogue, talking to the camera, to the narrator. Then he walks away. We have to pan the background as he walks. It looks like we stop, and he turns and looks back. Something's happening off screen that he's looking at. And there's this creature burying a bone, I guess, digging a hole. But as you see, the storyboard is very simplistic. It's dialogue heavy, just like all the shows are today. So here's some superhero storyboards by Toth, one of the greatest. And this is for Super Friends, and these are his suggestions to restage a bunch of shots that were already boarded, and he thought they could be done better. Lots of great suggestions here. It's done on 8.5 by 11 paper with probably pencil and flare pens or magic markers. And this is him restaging another show, another episode from 1973. But the simplicity and brilliance of his boarding is not to be believed. It's to the point, nothing wasted, not too many lines. It's not over animated in the board stage. Everything is in service to the next step, which is layout, and the next step after that, animation. Here's a bunch more restaging suggestions. He was just brilliant because his whole thing was design. Everything was so well designed when you looked at his artwork. Close up of the hand, simplistically drawn with Robin in the background. And we know it's an upshot looking at Robin in the seat of the bat copter, I guess. These are more of his restaging notes. Notice how simplistically everything is drawn, but yet you know exactly the attitude of the character. He was just great. He was just the greatest. So if you get a chance, look him up. Toth. Toth. So that's Storyboards and Storyboard Fixes by Alex. Let's look at another old show, and this is Top Cat. And here's some Top Cat storyboards that somebody gave me. Notice how it's not animated on the board. It's just setups, compositions, so that the layout guys and the animators know what is expected. This is a thing where you stole the guy's newspaper, but it's not overly done. It's very simplistically done. This is reduced. I'm pretty sure that the originals are 8.5 by 11 with 4 panels to a page. And you can look these up online. Somebody has these online somewhere, so you can take a closer look at them and study them. But this is what storyboards were about. This is 1962, 61. And last, but certainly not least, put this away. We have this handout from the layout department. Don Morgan was running it, so his name is on it. It's from 8081. And this is showing you just what came from John Ahern first, I guess, back in 77. All the rules for doing character and background layout and what's expected of a layout guy. It's how you do limited animation on a budget and on a schedule. All the rules. None of this is used nowadays because everything is digital, but if you were doing work on paper, you would need a booklet like this. A repeat pan, 48 inches, and it goes field A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And this field G should have the exact same artwork as this field A. You try to make them simple so that you can airbrush, paint, whatever it is to make those fields look exactly alike, because they're going to repeat as this background pans. More notes for how to set up shots. This is probably the mystery machine. And you have to tell the guys, well, this registration line is for the characters, so don't draw or paint anything below that. This is clear glass, so you have to have a BG showing behind it as it pans through. Everything was figured out. When you do a shot, and you can do cut-ins, so you can do a shot that's 12 field for the master shot, and then you can cut into 7 field for these 3 characters. But what you should do is actually just make a new shot of those characters that's 8 field. Here he cut in from 12 field to 6 field. Should never do that. You should just make a new shot of this guy, Hong Kong Phooey. Just draw a new scene setup. When you have a big pan background, you can reuse parts of it. You can start with a 12 field shot, panning the background, and then you need to be closer on the mouse on the motorcycle, so you can cut into a 7 field, cut into a 7 field on the cat, cut into another 7 field, and just keep the same background. No need to draw and repaint a separate background. This tells you all about overlays, underlays, held cells. Tells you exactly how to do everything to make the show work and get it through production. If you get a pan background, this is how you fold it up properly. This is how you label it. So this book was given out to all the layout guys at the studio so that they would have a guide as to what to do. Labeling pans so that BG Paint knows what to do. BG pans with characters on them. Pans are usually going to be top peg, characters bottom peg. So much information here. So this is what limited animation is all about, is thinking first so that you can make these shows in a timely fashion so you can make air date without penalty. So until next time, keep drawing and keep having fun, and we'll see you in the next video.